Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves for you. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. We're just going to go ahead and get started. Okay, let's see. What do these tea leaves have for you, Taurus? And I just want to go ahead and thank you all for deciding to check out this reading. If you enjoy it, if it speaks to you, if you just like listening, please think about liking the video. It helps me get into the algorithm. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell thing and you'll know when the next videos come out. And you can watch all of your placements. Definitely, they're different readings, but they all have pieces that will speak to you. All right, so we have a lot of interesting looking formations here, and I like to look at it a little further out, then we'll come in a little bit. So I guess we should start. I want to start with this one right in the middle, okay? And this position, Taurus, this is going to be about you. It's right center. It is, you know, looking out, gazing at us. And it is a fox, okay? And we can see the little ears and the body and the tail. And I would almost think maybe it's a wolf, but I don't think so. My first impression was a fox, and I know, here I am questioning myself. How dare I? No. I get this feeling, I'm getting this feeling, Taurus, that you have had to be really in your mental lately. I feel like something has happened recently that is kind of like coming back up for you. I feel like it's almost like, you know, a few weeks ago, a month ago, something happened. It didn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of has become a bigger deal in this last, I don't know, maybe 5 days or so. I feel like with the fox symbol, sometimes now, if it's somebody who is involved in your situation and not you, I would say, you know, oftentimes this is somebody who is like a fox in the hen house. This is maybe somebody who's a little more sly, maybe somebody who's trying to slide into your life. They don't have great intentions. But a fox is also just a very beautiful creature, first off, but playful, very resilient, resourceful, and more than anything, cunning, but not so. It doesn't always have to be predatory. Okay, within the symbolism, they are a predator, obviously, but within symbolism, the relation to being somewhat cunning could be that you are business minded, that you are really, you know, good at management, the art of conversation, rhetoric. You're good with your words. You have the ability to think on your feet, okay? And you just have that cognitive function that not all of us have, right? You are just real quick, clever. And so I think that something has really come up And this thing has had to get you really into that mental space of making moves with great intention, okay? You're really on your game right now. I don't know that this is I have to look a little bit more. I don't know that this is like a problematic thing. Or is this kind of like some kind of opportunity has arisen? And I want to look here. And this one I saw immediately when I pulled the cup up, and that is the rooster with its pretty tail. And this is like one of those skinny roosters, almost like a fighting rooster, not one of the big plump boys, right? The rooster for me is always, almost always anyways, an alarm, okay? Some kind of messaging coming through that, hey, there's, you know, there's reason to be alert. There is something going to happen if it hasn't already, but you need to be, and it's even funny because on the tail here there's these 3 marks, and that's almost like like a bell going off, right? Those movement sound, vibrational kind of like a marking, like in a drawing or a diagram, right? So I think that you have to either just be ready for this to come through, or it already has for you, okay? And I'm just reiterating something that's already kind of in progress. And I guess if it is this kind of alarm feeling, I wonder if this kind of is something that has happened that's not necessarily super positive. I think it's really kind of put you in a state of like being hyper aware, vigilant. You know, there's a sense of anxiety, and I want to kind of turn this over, see if we can look at this. I want to see. Sometimes when I pull this out, these things look a little different in the viewing thing on the little screen for the computer, for the dangled computer. No, the for the camera there. Okay, and then I look at it with my naked eye, and that's different even. So, and I was looking at this too. This one, now this rooster's kind of looking over at this. It looks like kind of a triangle, but it has this little kind of stump on it. And so I have this feeling that something happened around Christmas. Now, if you partake, if you observe Christmas, you know, you don't have to. Obviously, this isn't a reading just for people who partake in Christmas. But here, at least in the Western world, it's, you know, everything is kind of, during that time of the year, that's one of the big markers of the year, how we, you know, break up the year. And we go into that season, and there are other holidays, obviously. Yeah, Christmas is a big one. So this Christmas tree, evergreen tree, I think that something happened in that time frame, okay? And it's been in your mind since. I think that it's just, it seems like something really, I want to see here. Was it an argument or... And I keep looking at this one. That is it's the rooster on the other side. But here it almost looks like a dome or an opening. To me, it looks like a door almost. And a lot of times when I see these kind of doors, as I've said in other readings, these are like gateways, portals, porta, to the domicile, doma, temple, home. So I feel like this is almost like something very close to home, like a family member, spouse, somebody you're living with, maybe a child. But something's been going on, and I mean, it just seems like there's some kind of conflict. And now I want to go to these larger ones because I've been looking at them and they're important. We have a bird here, and it looks like a robin, okay, with the little head and the beak and the plump little round body, okay. And then we go over here, and this one looks like a cardinal. Okay, and you can see the head kind of coming up to a point, and then the little beak and the little legs. Okay, so these are both birds. The robins, I don't know, they must go south where I'm at, but during the spring, summer, fall, they're here. The cardinals are still here during the winter. Either way, these are common birds to see around your home, in parks, you know, in the city or in a rural area. They're pretty much everywhere, right? At least in my experience in North America. And these are what I call backyard spirits, but they are also heavily tied to, in my estimation, the spirit world. When I see these in a cup, especially because they're so prominent, they're on your mind, I think they're very much tied to a family member, a good friend, maybe somebody you loved romantically, maybe a child, a mentor, something like this that has passed away. Okay, and they have been visiting you. Now, I think these are two different people. They're very large and distinct, okay? And where their placement in the cup, it's in that mental, spiritual, so that's right where I would imagine they'd be. For these to be people passed on that are kind of looking out for you, possibly communicating with you, leaving you kind of signs and symbols for you to interpret. But more than anything, I think because of the amount of stress you've been under, and really, I feel like whatever's going on has had you kind of in prayer more, talking to God a little bit more, activating some of those spiritual practices you have. I feel like this is kind of a time-sensitive thing, and you know, if I get this sensation that you feel like time is running out, okay? And these two people who love and care for you immensely are visiting you, okay, and looking out for you. I feel like this is almost like a sensation of being held, comforted, letting you know that things are going to be okay, and to really just remember yourself. It's important for whatever is happening that you need to be true to yourself, to stay within your, now how can I say this delicately? Do not do anything that you'll later regret, okay? You know, so honesty, being upright, moving within your boundaries, you know, not making hasty decisions, going slowly, thinking it through. I know that this feels like it's something that, you know, I get this in my mind, this image of like a, what is that called? An hourglass with the sand kind of rushing through quickly. You know, it's weird because sometimes they have those ones and, it goes so slow, and then they have the other one, like bigger ones, that goes so fast. And I suppose that's supposed to be that way, but I remember thinking as a kid how strange that was. I always liked hourglasses so much. And actually, when you go to, what is the place? Hobby Lobby. They have like a section where they have all these like really neat hourglasses, and like I keep thinking about getting one. They have one that has black sand that I really like. But anyways, let's see. So we also have this formation right here, okay? And to me, this looks like a sphinx. It's not exactly the traditional, but it's kind of in that animal posture, on all fours or kind of on the knees or whatever, but head going up in kind of this very looking straight forward, a very kind of you know, gaze that goes right through you, you know, just looking into eternity, unmoving in some way, okay? Strong, fortified, but also very mysterious, quite the mystery, right? And so, to me, this says, you know, you need to stay fortified, true to self, but there's some, you know, there's always room for this self-work in these moments, okay? I think you've probably, if you're here and you're still listening to this, you probably have an interest in the self-work, okay? And discovering things about yourself, about life, about the universe, whatever. This isn't, the way that I read isn't, and the things I talk about aren't usually like the typical, you know, your ex is thinking about you and they're gonna call you in 2 days and, you know, you're gonna meet a hot match or, you know, whatever. I don't know how other people read, but, you know, I mean, those things are fine too. But that's not really exactly how I do things. That's not the things that are in my mind all the time. So I don't often talk about that stuff. So if you're here, I think that you're probably looking for more of kind of, you know, alchemizing your life, right? Working on transmuting parts of self and so on. So this thing that's happening, I feel like it's bringing you back into maybe old modes of coping, right? Things that you have developed throughout your life to deal with things. I think that you probably have had to, on some level, really hustle to get to where you are in life. And I don't mean necessarily you're in the streets hustling, although maybe you do, maybe you have had to hustle that way, you know, to some degree, haven't we all, you know? But I feel like you have worked a lot. You've had to do all kinds of little side things to make some money, to get your education together, to get the housing that you want, to, you know, get the things that you want in life. And, you know, you're not a person that has just sat around and waited for it to all come to you. Not by any means, okay? So I think that through that process, you've had to do some things, you know, and you've had to learn how to deal with people in such a way that maybe, you know, I'm not saying that like I'm not saying that you've done anything dishonorable. That's not what I mean. But maybe sometimes, you know, you've had to deal with people and it just it doesn't feel good. And I'll give you an example, okay? I waited tables for a long time. Now, I didn't mind waiting. I love the food industry. I liked working in the kitchen. I liked waiting. But I mean, gosh, sometimes some of the places I worked, some of the clientele we had, I just didn't relate with. Not only that, I'm a fairly introverted person and I'm shy and, you know, I don't like to touch people. I don't like to be too close to people. And it's like it's kind of an industry and a job within that industry where you have to kind of form quick, casual, familiar kind of relationships, right? And so I just did not like that, really. And like over the years, it just really wore me down. And so this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Maybe you have worked in fields or jobs that, you know, you just feel like you haven't been yourself. You haven't been authentic. It doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth. Okay. And so you've had to cope with that, and you've had to figure out how to navigate those worlds that you've been in. But I think in the last few years, at least, you have kind of moved away from that, and you have found ways to make a living, or you've retired, or whatever it is. You've reconfigured your life in such a way where you could feel a little bit more yourself, a little bit more authentic in your living and how you socialize, interact with people, whatever. Now, whatever this is that's coming up, it seems stressful, and it makes me feel like you have had to kind of circle back to some of that stuff. I don't think it's necessarily conscious so much as, you know, it's just a reaction. Some of these things that we learn to do, to put up, the things we put up with, the ways that we react to people, you know, it just comes out of us. You know, no matter how much work we do to try to fix some of that stuff, or, you know, resolve it and leave it behind, sometimes things just bring it straight up to us. Okay. Especially, you know, this if you have moved away from where you grew up, right? You grew up there. You know, maybe you went away to college, whatever, and then you never really came back to live. And you kind of became a different person in your travels, in your life, whatever. And then you have to go home for some reason, okay, to visit. And you find yourself speaking in the same ways, reacting in the old ways, feeling like, you know, that little kid that you were when you left. And it's just something that happens to us, right? We pick up right where we last were when we were there, like before, right? So I think this sign here, it really tells me that you need to be conscious of how you're dealing with things. I don't think that you're doing anything super wrong or anything that necessarily is going to harm you or anybody else, but I think that for your peace of mind and to honor the work that you have done thus far, you remain conscious about how you get through this situation, whatever it may be. I also see this beautiful, and now this is getting a little dry here, but I see this beautiful symbol of, it looks like Anubis kind of on the knees. And if you don't know who Anubis is, this is the dog-headed god, Egyptian god, and is a psychopomp, and somebody who would show up basically when you die and take you over into the underworld or the other realm so that you can have your soul judged, weighed. And this is who you walk with. This is kind of, you know, like death, which is interesting because we also have the death card. Okay. And this is what I pulled today. Now don't be scared because this is one of my favorite cards. And this is from, and I have to get the name of the artist, but it's on the box and I don't want to grab it because it's off to the other side. But this is from the Carnival at the End of the World deck. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful deck. I just got it yesterday. Now, we're seeing this kind of being that helps you get to pass over into the underworld, okay? A priest of transmutation, of and we'll think of this in a way of letting go of old things. That's what I think of when I see the death card. I don't think of like physical death very often. Mostly this is about letting things fall away, shedding old skin, allowing ourselves to put down those things that no longer serve us. Very difficult, but they're little deaths. Okay. And when I see a psychopomp in this posture of devotion, I see that you have to really, really carefully sit with yourself, think about what you want, what you need, what's important to you while you're dealing with these things. Count to 10, breathe. Think about, how do you want to move forward? You're going to honor yourself instead of embracing these old things, carrying them with you, letting them rule you. Okay, we're going to let them go. We're going to let them die if they don't help us, if they're not of service to us. So what time is better to practice this stuff than when you're kind of in a crisis? Okay, and this seems like it's not a huge crisis, but it's a crisis, and it feels like a lot of anxiety is happening. So this is a good time to employ some of those things that you have learned, okay? To use the skills that you've learned along the way, the techniques, to also remember, why did you do this work, right? You don't want to be reactionary, angry, God forbid, violent, or hurtful, emotionally abusive, whatever it is that comes up when something hard is happening. You've done the work to try to get rid of some of that stuff, okay? Or at least temper it, right? And so we want to remember to honor ourselves. And that's really what these ones are so much about. Trying to get to that place where you can just calm yourself, think about what you need, think about what you're willing to do to relieve yourself of some of the anxiety of those impulses to be, quick to the anger, quick to the outburst, quick to the posturing, trying to make yourself, puff your chest out, protect yourself, with, violent language, or, getting on social media and running amok and posting things, passive aggressive or aggressive aggressive, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. And just trying to stay away from that, trying to stay away from it. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and look at this. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I think definitely I think that, you're going to get through this. This thing, and I just feel like I get the impression, and I don't want to say exactly what it is because I don't know. But, and I wanted to, let me lift this really quick. I don't want to do it too much though. I think this is involving an N person. Somebody who has an N name in your family or in your personal life. Somebody you're having some kind of issue with, okay? And I think it happened at Christmas. I think it's been I feel like so much this is family drama. This is like in-house drama. Doesn't have to be your family unit that you live with, but it's like somebody in your closer extended family. Cousins, aunts, that kind of thing. Maybe in-laws, in-law family, whatever. Something, I can't see, obviously, and I'm not like a psychic or anything, so I don't know. But this really has you twisted up. It has you really thinking about like how you're going to move forward generally with these people, okay? Not just one person, but really just the people in your life. Okay, I had to cut there for a second. Had a little technical difficulty. Okay, so I was saying, I feel like you're really thinking about like, what am I going to do going forward with these people in my life? Can I trust them? And I even see this over here that it's sitting down. I get this like feeling that you almost, and this is right here, it looks like a person, like maybe in like a cape or something, and they have something over their shoulder. And I get this image of just like packing your stuff and like taking off. Okay. And it doesn't have to be like actually packing your stuff and taking off, but like just totally being like, I don't want to talk to any of you anymore. Like, I'm done. I'm just done. This is goofy. I don't want to be involved. Okay. So, I think that's part of your instinct. I'm not ever going to tell you don't follow your instincts, right? They're there for a reason. They help us survive. But I also want to remind you that, like we said, there's some old coping behaviors coming up. So maybe you are somebody that's quick to just cut everybody off or just, dip. And that, has sometimes been for the best and sometimes maybe not. Maybe, maybe you could have had a different situation or outcome and it would have, whatever. We're not going to get too far. We're not going to dig up the past and excavate those things. But I think that really just tempering yourself, I think it's okay to just take a break. Instead of like going all the way to, I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm out of here. I just can't. I can't abide this. I'm done. Instead of that, maybe just, I need a break. Okay, I don't know how long, you don't have to put a time on it, but I just need to like, take myself out of the situation and I need to sort through my feelings and, this is time for myself. Okay. And that's, you can communicate that, you don't have to, but, maybe instead of, forevers, we just try to do, little smaller increments of time for ourselves. Okay, because you might feel different in a little while. Things might resolve themselves a little bit more clearly than you imagine, right? And that's kind of what I'm seeing is that things are going to, stop being so volatile. I think though that it is good for you to kind of take a beat, focus on some other things in your life, and give yourself some peace and quiet. And I think definitely in the next 2 months, this is going to be gone. It'll be resolved. You're going to be going forward. I actually really see that I feel like there's going to be some real blossoming happening, especially as spring happens. I feel like there's going to be a good new opportunity revealing itself, and that I think it feels like it's tied into something monetary. So I don't know what that is. Maybe next reading we'll look at that, and hopefully the bull will tell me more about that. Other than that, I just, I think that's my message for you today. And I thank you, Taurus, so much for allowing me to bring these messages to you. I'm always so honored to be able to do that. And basically, yeah, that I think, we're just working on not flipping out, not causing more chaos, right? Just letting go of some of that stuff. Keeping your head down, staying focused in your own life, right? And that's all you can do sometimes. Things are going to come at you from all directions, and you can't always, control that. Okay, but you can control how you react to those things, right? Okay, so if you would be so kind, please like the video. It helps me get into the algorithm. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Let me know how this resonated with you. Let me know how you're doing. I love hearing from each and every one of you. Other than that, yeah, if you're interested in a free reading, the information is in the description. And yeah, Taurus, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. We're going to get through this. It's going to be all good, okay? All right. Thank you so much.